To create the histogram chart, firstly, we need to make a table that consists of the test scores as well as the frequency. And then we need to select the data for the frequency part and click insert. And then we can click at the bar chart symbol and pick the 2D column chart. To widen the bar, we need to right click at the bar and click format data series and decrease the gap width to be 0. To make the chart more visible, we can add the outline to the chart. And then we need to edit the x-axis of the chart to be the test scores. To do that, we need to right click the chart and click select data and then click edit and select the test scores and press OK. Then we can rename the chart to be a histogram chart. And lastly, we can add the axis title to the chart, which in this case, the title for the y-axis is the frequency and the x-axis to be the test scores. For the frequency polygon chart, we need to create a table that consists of the test scores and the frequency. And then to create the chart, we need to select the frequency part of the data and click insert. And then we can click at the line chart symbol and pick the 2D line chart. To add the point to the chart, we need to click the paintbrush symbol and select style 14 to do that. Then we need to edit the x-axis to be the test scores. To do that, we need to click select data and then click edit and select the test scores and then press OK. Then we can change the title of the chart to be a frequency polygon chart. And then we can add the axis title to the chart. The x-axis, the y-axis is the frequency and the x-axis to be the test scores. Lastly, for the OJI chart, we need to create a table that consists of the test scores, the frequency, as well as the cumulative frequency. And then to create the chart, we need to select the cumulative frequency part of the data and then click insert and then click at the line chart symbol and pick the 2D line. To add the midpoint to the chart, we need to click the paintbrush symbol and select style 14. Then we need to edit the x-axis of the chart to be the test scores. To do that, we can right click the chart and click select data, click edit and then select the test scores and then press OK. Then we can rename the chart to be an OJI chart and then we can add the axis title to the chart. The y-axis of the chart is the cumulative frequency and the x-axis of the chart is the test scores.
Hi, my name is KUHAN and today I'm going to demonstrate how to analyze continuous data using Excel. So as you can see here, these are the data we have gathered. So firstly, we need to create the frequency distribution table. So in order to do that, we need to select all the data available. After that, head to the Insert tab and select Pivot Table. So you can either choose to create the pivot table in the new worksheet or the existing worksheet. So as you can see here, I've selected the new worksheet and press OK. So it will direct you to a new worksheet, and next you need to drag this data to the rows section and into the value section as well. So at the value section, select value field settings and select count and press OK. So these are the count of each height available. So next, select the first data and select group. So this is the starting count and it will end at 184 centimeters. So here, instead of 10, we will use 5 and select OK. And this is the frequency distribution table. Okay, so from the frequency data table, we are able to gather all this data, which is the upper boundary until the product of frequency and the midpoint. Okay, so in order to calculate the mean, we need to take the sum of fx, which is the frequency and midpoint, and divide it with the sum of frequency. So in order to do that, you press equal sign, and then you left click or select the data, which is 8410, and divide it with the total number of frequency, which is 50. So you need to select this slot, which is B9. Press enter and you will get the mean, which is 168.2. So we are going to calculate the median now. So firstly, we need to determine the median class. In order to do that, we need to take the sum of frequency and divide it by 2, which we will get 25. So 25 falls under the range over this class because it is lower than 33. Okay, so as you can see here, we have this formula. Okay, so L is the lower boundary of the median class. Capital letter N is the total number of observation or data. Capital letter F is the cumulative frequency before the median class, and the lowercase f is the frequency of median class. Lastly, C is the class width. Okay, so class width is 5, and for bracket n divided by 2 close bracket minus f, what we need to do is cosine bracket and select 50 since it is the sum of frequency, and divided by 2 close bracket minus f will be the cumulative frequency before the median class, which is 24. So we need to select this, whereby we will get 1. So next, we just need to select this data here because we've already done it. So again, equal sign, select, and divide it with the frequency of median class, which is 9. Press enter, and we will get this. Lastly, we just need to plug in all these values into the formula. So capital letter L will be the lower boundary of median class. So it will be this plus, we already have the data here, so we just select this and multiply it with the class width. Okay, now we are going to calculate the mode. So firstly, we need to determine the modal class. So the modal class is the class with the highest frequency. In these sets of data, the highest frequency is 11. So this is the modal class, the yellow color one. So D1 is the difference of frequency of modal class and the class before it, while D2 is the difference in frequency of modal class and the class after it, and C, as usual, is the class width. So in order to find D1, we need to select the frequency of modal class, which is 11. So we will left click that column and we will subtract it with 9 because it is the frequency before the model class. After that, for D2, we will do the same thing, except we will select the frequency after the model class, which is 6. So we will select this column. So with this data, we are able to calculate T1 over bracket T1 plus T2. So right now we need to compute that. So we're going to select T1 from this column here, and then divide it, bracket, select the same data again. And with that, we will have the value of 0.286. So with sufficient data, we are able to substitute all the data into the formula. So L is the lower boundary of the model class, which is 174.5. So we will again press equal and select that column plus, and then since we already have T1 over T1 plus T2, we can select the data straight away and multiply with the class width, which is 5. Okay, so now I'm going to demonstrate how to calculate variance and standard deviation. So before that, we have 3 new sets of data with x minus mean square, and f multiplied with x minus mean square. So x is the midpoint and f is the frequency, and we already have the mean from before. So right now we have sufficient data, we can calculate the grand total. So in order to do that, we need to press equal sign, and we need to type in sum, select, and we can select all the data by left clicking and dragging it to the end, close bracket, and type enter. So we can repeat this process for next 2 data. Again, press equal sign, sum, and we can select all the data needed, close bracket, and type enter. Lastly, for the last set of data, we will do the same thing as well. We will type in equal sign, sum, and then select all data needed, close bracket, and press enter. Alright, so now we can calculate the variance. We can take the total number of f multiplied with x mean square, divide it with the sum of frequency minus 1. So in order to do that, we will type in equal sign, bracket, we will select the data needed, close bracket, and divide it with the total number of frequency minus 1. Okay, so now with the variance, we can calculate the standard deviation. So we all know that standard deviation, we can just square root the variance. So in order to do that, we press the equal sign, and this time we will enter SQRT for square root, select it, and then we can just select the data before. Boom.
Alright, so I'm gonna explain on how to create this histogram chart. So this is an example of histogram chart where your y-axis should be the frequency, x-axis is the class boundaries. So first prepare a table that consists of class intervals, frequency, upper boundary, lower boundary, and class boundaries. So this class boundaries, you can do it manually, where it's just the range of lower boundary to upper boundary. So first select the values at the frequency column. Next is to click insert, and then after that go to this small chart over here, select the small arrow here, and then select the first step at the second column, 2D column, which is a cluster column, and you encounter this kind of chart. So next we need to make this chart, because this is a bar chart, and we need to change this bar chart into a histogram chart. So what you need to do is click on this blue chart here, right click it, and then press this format data series. So after that, you need to change the gap width by decreasing it to 0%, and then you will have this type of chart. And then next you need to design the chart. So right click it and then press outline, and then you can choose any colors. So now you have like a more organized and proper histogram chart. Now we need to change the values of this chart where the x-axis should be the class boundaries, because the y-axis is already correct, but the x-axis should be the class boundaries. So for that, you have to click onto this chart, right click it and then select data. So after you select data, you encounter this kind of interface. Next, you have to click edit at the horizontal axis label, and then you have to select the range at the class boundaries column, like that. And then you press OK. Next, press OK, and you'll have the correct values and range of the axis. Next, we need to label those axes. So you press this positive sign here, which is chart elements, and then click this axis title, and you'll have that axis title. Then you can just name them. So at the y-axis would be frequency, and the x-axis would be class boundaries. Don't forget to name your chart. So your chart would be histogram chart, and that's how you do a histogram chart. Okay, so now let's proceed with the frequency polygon chart. So this is an example of frequency polygon chart. The y-axis is the frequency and the x-axis is the midpoint. So prepare a table that has class intervals, frequency, and midpoint. So first you need to do is select the values at the frequency column. Next, press insert and then click on this tab here. Click at this small arrow, and then you have to click on the first step at the 2D line, which is named as line, and you encounter this kind of chart. So basically all we need to do is just change the values below here. So right click this chart and then select data. Next, after you select data, go to the horizontal axis label, select edit, and then you need to select the values at the midpoint column. So just like that, press OK, and you'll have the correct values of each axis. Next is to also label your axis. So press the chart element, then click on this axis title, and then you can name your axis. So this would be the frequency, and this would be your midpoint. And also don't forget to name your chart as frequency polygon chart. And if you want to put the bullet point like this, that bullet point onto your line chart so that it could indicate the point here, what we need to do is click onto this brush here, which is the chart style, and then you can just select any chart you want. But since we just want the point, then you can just select this, which is style 14, and there you have it. This is how you do the frequency polygon chart. Okay, last but not least, to create an algorithm chart, this is the example of it, where the y-axis is the cumulative frequency and the x-axis is the class intervals. So first, prepare a table that consists of class intervals, frequency, and cumulative frequency. So again, we have to select the values, but instead of at the frequency column, we select at the cumulative frequency column. Select those values, then select insert, and then click onto this tab here, and add the small arrow, and then select the first step at the second line. Sorry, at the 2D line. And then next we need to just change the values at the x-axis. So what you need to do is select this chart, and then right click it, and then you select data. So after you select data, you have to click this edit tab here at the horizontal axis label, Next, we need to select the range at the class intervals column. So you just need to select everything, make sure everything is included, then press OK, and finally you have the correct values and range at the correct axis. Next is we need to label those axes. Same thing, press onto this positive sign here, which is the chart element, and then select axis title, and then you can finally name your axis, where the y-axis is the cumulative frequency and the y-axis is the class intervals. Okay, and then don't forget to name your chart as the archive chart. Okay, and also if you want to put the bullet point, the point there to indicate which point is this class interval, you just need to select this chart and then select this paintbrush here, and then go to chart style 14, this style 14, and there you have it. You have a bullet point. So this is how you create a archive chart.